All right. Well, everybody, welcome to the Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award presentation. Today, we are honored to have Judge Bernice Donald as the recipient of the award. My name is John McMeekin. I am the current chair of the TIPS section of the American Bar Association, and it is my honor to introduce Sharon Sales Belton. I apologize. And Judge Donald to you all. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about our sponsors and to thank our sponsors for their generosity, their commitment to the law, their commitment to the integrity of the judiciary, and the support for the ideals of the Thomson Reuters Liberty Achievement Award, and to be able to honor Judge Donald today. So specific thanks are called out to our premier section sponsor and the sponsor of the Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award, Thomson Reuters. And Sharon will tell you more about Thomson Reuters as we get into this. We also have other sponsors that are represented here today. We have MDD, apologize for that, MDD Forensic Accountants, Atlas Legal Research, and Sweet Hop. And if you go to the TIPS website, you can learn more about all of our sponsors. They are wonderful people and wonderful organizations that we encourage you to learn more about. So without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Sharon Sales Belton. She is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Alliances at Thomson Reuters. She will present the Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award. The Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award was created to honor those attorneys and judges who take a leadership role in promoting diversity in the profession of law by demonstrating through choices made in their careers and work done in private and/or public sector positions that they have actively promoted diversity. This includes their own career leadership positions and work done to advance diverse attorneys in their profession. Other considerations include significant substantive legal work in the areas of diversity, as well as a community service and/or pro bono work in diversity. We created a special Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award, and I'm really proud this year for Judge Donald for her work in diversity. Judge Donald has done all the things that I just described and far more. For those of you who had the opportunity to watch the slideshow, it was spectacular. I can't imagine somebody who had that much achievement to have that long of a slideshow, but it shows that she has met, exceeded, and redefined what the goals are for this award. But she has done all this throughout her entire venerable career, and we are truly honored and humbled that Judge Donald has accepted this inaugural award. So without further ado, let me pass you over to Sharon Sales Belton, who will address the group and present the award to the Honorable Bernice Donald. Sharon, it's all yours. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, John, for the introduction. And thanks to all of you for tuning in to be here for this virtual program. While we may not be able to celebrate our award winners in person, it is more important than ever to recognize the achievements and the successes of those pushing excellence in the law during these turbulent and uncertain times. That is why it gives me so much pleasure to present the inaugural TIPS Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award today. Now, let me tell you something about the Liberty Achievement Award in case you've forgotten. The Liberty Achievement Award was established in 2008 to recognize attorneys and judges who are exemplary role models in promoting diversity and inclusion in the legal profession. In line with our longstanding commitment to promoting diversity in the law, Thomson Reuters has been the proud sponsor since the inception, and I have had the distinct honor of awarding this making this award for many, many years. The new Lifetime Achievement Award seeks to further recognize and celebrate those who have demonstrated persistent and enduring leadership over the course of their careers. It is for lawyers who have broken down barriers and have been trailblazers in the field, and those who have, through their professional work or through community service and pro bono activity, have spent their entire careers promoting diversity and inclusion within the profession. And tonight, it could not go to anyone more deserving of this honor. Enduring diversity in the law is still of critical importance, yet it remains a challenge at all levels of the profession. We're making progress, but there's still more to do. We know that the law benefits when there is a diverse and inclusive workforce of people within it. We also understand that diverse and legal professionals bring different perspectives, experiences, and opinions to identify and address and resolve legal issues, which encourages our colleagues to, again, consider factors and issues that they might otherwise have overlooked, undervalued, or in some cases dismissed. Studies have shown us that gender diverse law practices achieve significantly higher performance ratings. And ethically diverse executive teams are more likely to outperform their peers in profitability. The ongoing events also in Minneapolis and across the United States over the past few months have shown us that initiatives that promote diversity and inclusion, whether in the legal profession or across all aspects of our society, remain important as ever. Now, I will tell you, as a former mayor of the city of Minneapolis, this particular issue is very, very close to my heart. I know, like you, that a more diverse, inclusive legal profession can only help us in achieving just, fair, and transparency in the application of the law, and ultimately in a judicial system that works for everyone in an equal and inclusive way. As I've said before, we still have a long way to go, but that is why it is so important to recognize those trailblazers, such as tonight's honoree, that have served as inspiration and role models to all of us. Let me take a moment to introduce her. The Honorable Judge Bernice Donald was nominated by President Barack Obama to serve as the United States Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, which she has served with distinction since 2011. Previously, Judge Donald was appointed by President Bill Clinton to the United States District Court for the Western District of Tennessee in 1995. In 1996, Chief Judge William Rehnquist appointed Judge Donald to the Judicial Conference Advisory Committee on Bankruptcy Rules, where she served for 6 years. In 2011, Chief Judge John Roberts appointed her to an indefinite term on the Judicial Branch Committee of the Judicial Conference of the United States. Whenever, due to her race or her gender, Judge Donald encountered a glass ceiling during her career, she broke that glass ceiling down. Judge Donald was the first African-American woman to serve as a judge in the state of Tennessee. She has the distinction of being the first African-American woman in the history of the United States to serve as a bankruptcy judge. She was the first African-American president of the American Bar Foundation. It is clear that Judge Donald has been a long-time advocate and champion for civil rights and inclusion, as well as during her time that she spent at the American Bar Association and the Tort Trial and Insurance Practice as a Tort Trial Insurance Practice member. She has served as co-chair of the TIPS Diversity and Inclusion Committee and the chair of the ABA's Commission on Opportunities for Minorities in the Profession, and now the Commission on Racial and Ethnic Diversity in the Profession, which she helped to establish the Spirit of Excellence Award. She has consistently supported the TIPS Leadership Academy, serving as a keynote speaker this year for their section conference. She serves as the co-chair of the Task Force on Explicit Bias and Diversity of the American Bar Association's section of litigation, an active member of the ABA's section of labor and employment law, and as well the ABA Judicial Division, and is the immediate past president of the ABA Criminal Justice Section. She's also, just to add to the list, a past president of the National Association of Women's Judges. And I know many of her colleagues and peers from the National Association of Women Judges are joining us tonight for this celebration. And we are so delighted that you are here with us. Judge Donald is active in her Memphis community and has previously chaired the Memphis Diversity Institute. She currently works with Leadership Memphis to provide leadership training for the Memphis Housing Authority residents, and also in 2003 co-founded For Life, a skills training program, an enrichment program for students aged 6 through 15, which is designed to teach children to become positive and productive citizens. You know, winning awards that recognize her for professional, civic, and community activities really reflects Judge Donald's commitment to excellence and to serve others. She has been honored more than 100 times for leadership, and this includes the Distinguished Alumni Award from the University of Memphis, the Martin Luther King Community Service Award, the Memphis Bar Association Benjamin Hooks Award, and the ABA Commission on Women Margaret Brent Award, and recognition by the ABA Women Trailblazers Project. And as well, adding to that list, she was the first winner, and I know this, she was the first winner of the ABA TIPS Liberty Achievement Award. Hence, we're honored today to give her a Lifetime Achievement Award. No one embodies the values and the character of the aims of tonight's award better than her. I remember speaking with Judge Donald a few weeks before her investiture to the Sixth Circuit, and she told me about her intent to share copies of the United States Constitution with her guests in affirmation of the court's role to serve the people of the Sixth District. I told her then, and I want to tell her again today, you are a class act, and I am so proud and honored to call you a friend. Despite all of her enormous achievements, Judge Donald is known throughout the profession as a gracious, a humble person, willing to spend her time with younger colleagues to impart her knowledge and experience, and as well to help others advance their careers. She is truly a remarkable woman. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating the Honorable Judge Bernice B. Donald.
Thank you.
We'll stop working, honey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me call you Sharon for just this one moment. What an incredible introduction. And I am so grateful to you for all of the friendship, the warmth, and the support that you have provided to me over our long friendship and our careers. This is truly an incredible honor. And I want to thank TIPS for honoring me with this inaugural Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award this afternoon. The Tort Trial and Insurance Practice section of the American Bar Association is a recognized leader in the area of diversity. I have to say, before I go further, how much I thank Marcy Greer, Danielle Daly, Norma Campos, for all of their work to make this ceremony smooth and special. I want to thank John McMeekin, Chair of TIPS. John, I am honored, inspired, and motivated by this Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award, and I will spend the rest of my career striving to be worthy of it. To the officers, council, and members of the TIPS section, thank you for valuing diversity and inclusion and for your commitment to a profession that embraces diversity and inclusion as a core value. You work tirelessly to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice by recognizing and embracing the contributions and worth of all people, regardless of their arbitrary characteristics of birth, regardless of the God that they may worship, regardless of how long they've been walking on their journey, regardless of the fractional measure of their physical ability, or regardless of who they choose to love. What an honor to have an award presented by an extraordinary leader, ally, activist, and drum major for justice and inclusion, former Mayor Sharon Sells Belton and the Thompson Reuters Corporation. Mayor Belton served as mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where she was the first African-American and the first woman to hold that position. And during her service there, she carried herself in a manner that exemplified grace and courage, leadership and vision, because she wanted to make sure that she would not be the last woman or the last African-American to serve in that position. Mayor Belton, I thank you for all that you do, and I thank you for the generosity of your friendship. I want to thank the hundreds of lawyers, judges, law students, and friends around the country who have paused their busy day and sent me a note of congratulations or encouragement. I am grateful for my diverse family of law clerks who are spread around the country, who labored valiantly while they worked in my chambers so that I might devote time to this work that is my passion. Former clerks and current clerks, by your talent, your intellect, and work ethic, you honor me and you honor our profession. I also want to thank the organizations that have given me a seat at the table to work and to develop friendships, alliances, and colleagues. The American Bar Association, an organization of over 400,000 lawyers, judges, and other professionals. The National Bar Association, the oldest of the minority bars, formed in 1925. The Judicial Council of the National Bar Association, the Federal Judicial Center, the National Judicial College, and the many, many law schools who've invited me in so that I might interact with their students and their faculty to share with them my vision of a profession and a world where all people are valued. I must thank my husband, W.L. Donald, my biological family, my spiritual family, and my network of friends, and all the people who say yes to me when I call and ask them for their help and support on these various projects. For truly, all of this work is not the result of my hands. It is because of the allies and the partners that I engage to help in this important work. I would be remiss if I did not extend my thanks to my Chief Judge, Aragai Cole, and my colleagues on the Sixth Circuit for their support. And even now, they're sending me notes of encouragement and congratulations. I certainly want to thank my current staff, and I want to provide a special thanks to my assistant and my friend, Amy Robinson Duenos, for all of her help. And I know that many of you have interacted with her. She is a consummate professional. So let me thank all of you for your efforts to move us toward the goal of equal justice and equal opportunity by building strong communities of equity, inclusion, and opportunity. Our circuit has recently embarked on a project with the support of our Chief Judge and our Executive Director, Mark Terrejo, called IDEA. And IDEA stands for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advancement. Because we know that as a court, we must not only be arbiters of the law, but we must be leaders in the cause of justice. And we're working toward training on diversity, inclusion, and talking about what it means to be an inclusive court, where it means to be advancing the goals of equal justice, where it means to advance the notion of human dignity and human worth. I would say this afternoon that we can't go forward without recognizing and appreciating our past, our history. We don't judge that history, we simply state it for what it is. We recognize that America is a great country, a great pluralistic nation, a strong republic, but we also recognize that it was built on a flawed foundation. Why do I say that? Our wonderful, powerful nation was one that disenfranchised and dispossessed Native people. It enslaved and dehumanized descendants of Africa. We recognize that it indentured the Irish and other groups, that it interred Japanese Americans, that it denied white women the franchise. The founders wrote eloquent and soaring language that extolled freedom and liberty, even as it refused to recognize the humanity and personhood of enslaved African Americans. While celebrating the virtue of freedom, we fought a war to deny certain of our people that freedom and further dehumanize them as inhabitants in this country. And I believe that we're still suffering the refuges and vestiges of that today. All of us who've gone to law school remember the landmark 1857 case of Dred Scott versus Sanford, where the Supreme Court, the law of the land, said that the United States Constitution was not meant to include American citizenship for Black people. They were outside of the protective ambit of the Constitution. They were other than we the people. Native Americans were not included in we the people, even though they were the first people to inhabit this land. There were others. Women, white women, were not included in we the people and had to wage a 72-year-long war to earn the badge of full citizenship, the right to vote. And I am proud that this year we're commemorating and celebrating that accomplishment, and that we recognize that we as a nation are better because we recognize the contributions of women. We recognize the leadership of women. We recognize that we the people cannot be the people without all of the people. Now, African American women had to continue and fight another 45 years. And through the results of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, they were able to get the franchise. Now, even though I've talked about that history, let me be the first to say that we have made great strides and we have paid an extreme price for efforts to exclude. We as a country have always had great laws, but I would say to you that having great laws cannot make us a people who respect the worth and dignity of all people. That has to be at the level of the heart. Only in understanding at the deepest level of consciousness can we appreciate that difference does not mean less than. Difference does not mean better than. Difference simply means that we all bring unique contributions that help to make our nation the wonderful and great nation that it is. We have to become aware that all of us have biases, but we cannot afford to allow those biases to disenfranchise, to minimize, and to degrade other individuals. We have to be better than that because we are, as a nation and as a people, better than that. We must appreciate the real cost that the absence of diversity and inclusion brings about. When we deny someone the opportunity to achieve the fullness of their ability or the opportunity to utilize all of their talents, all of us suffer as a result. Sometimes we suffer more readily and sometimes it's deferred. We have to embrace the whole of all of our people in this great country. You heard Mayor Belton say that the legal profession is the least racially and ethnically diverse of all of the professions. According to Professor Deborah Rohde of Sanford Law, African Americans, Latinos or Latinx people, Asian Americans, and Native Americans make up approximately 1/5 of law school graduates, but fewer than 7% of law firm partners and less than 9% of counsels of general counsels of large corporations. Women make up more than 1/3 of the profession, but only 1/5 of the law firm partners, general counsels of Fortune 500 corporations, and law school deans. Now, even as I say that, let me acknowledge that we are making progress, but it is incrementally slow. And there does not appear to be a coordinated global strategy to address past, present, or future access and inclusion issues. The National Advancement of Law Placement Director James Leopold says that, quote, great structural and cultural hurdles remain that prevent law firms from being able to make more rapid progress in increasing diversity. But we are talented enough that we can overcome that. We can devise strategies. It may not be one, but we can develop strategies because we know what the issues are, and we're smart enough to bring solutions to the table. African American associates over a decade, beginning in 2009, increased only 0.1%. They increased in 2009 from 4.66% to 4.76% in 2019. Women of color, African American women of color rather, decreased from 2.93% in 2009 to 2.8% in 2019. And they are disproportionately leaving firms at higher rates than their white male counterparts. LGBTQ lawyers continue to grow, while lawyers with disabilities continue to be underrepresented. W.E.B. Du Bois said that the great problem of the 20th century is the color line. I would say that it appears that the color line expressed through race and ethnicity is still a problem here in the 21st century. We still have not addressed and solved that problem. In laying out issues or difficulties, as I have, and only giving a nod to progress, let me say the following, that I would be remiss if I did not call out some of the noteworthy things that our profession, that our association, is doing and has done. And I want to say to you that I have been an ardent supporter, member, and active person in the American Bar Association because I fundamentally believe in its mission. And I believe that the way to get things done is to link arms with other people who want to get things done. And through this association, in the words of Nike, just do it. And we are doing it. So let me say that the commitment of the sections such as tips to diversity, inclusion, and equity, that commitment is laudable. They have engaged in mentoring, leadership, and sponsorship programs designed to give people resources to further their successes. Other sections have engaged in similar work. The work of the Commission on Diversity and Inclusion and its various projects are laying solid foundations for progress. The Commission on Women in the Profession and its research and its activities support initiatives to further diversity and inclusion of women, and their work to shine a spotlight on deficiencies. That provides a powerful catalyst to enable change. The American Bar Association House of Delegates, with the passage of Model Rule 8.4G, designed to eliminate discrimination and bias. That model rule came about under the leadership of President Paulette Brown and was passed by the House of Delegates. Is a bold move to help us advance in our cause. And I could not leave without commenting on the tremendous leadership and vision of former ABA President Bill Paul of Oklahoma, who founded the Legal Opportunity Scholarship and endowed that scholarship so that lawyers, law students of color, and first-generation law students would have a fund to help them with some of the financial costs that might enable them to get into law school and achieve. There are so many other things that I don't have time to mention, but I would say if you're out there and you are not involved in this work, we invite you to a seat at the table of the American Bar Association, the section of the Tort Trial and Insurance Practice, and other sections to come in and link arms with us and further the cause and the goal of diversity and advancement. I would issue a small call to action to my colleagues in the profession. Our current successes are justifiable sources of pride and progress, but we must be ever mindful of the stalled progress and in some areas retrenchment for some of the societal and professional groups. Today, our legal profession has grown. It is not, as I like to say, our father's legal profession. Legal industry will continue to evolve in coming years due to the combined influences of technology, globalization, and diversity, as Mayor Belton acknowledged and knows. Although lawyers are doing their best to keep pace with change in technology and globalization, our profession is not doing enough to promote and achieve diversity in the 21st century. Today's lawyers must embrace the obligation to make real the promises of equal justice, equal opportunity, and equal protection under law. Lawyers are the guardians of the sacred promises of democracy. And as I say all the time, laws can be great. They can provide a mechanism for us to advance, but laws are not self-executing. They require men and women of goodwill to take hold and make those laws real in the lives of people. So we can and must do better in the future if we hope to advance in a rapidly changing world. I want to spend the last few minutes of my time paying tribute to two extraordinary people. My mother and father, both deceased. They grew up in Mississippi during a very different time, but they made me who I am today. I tell people that law school taught me to be a lawyer, but my parents taught me to be a judge. They taught me about respect and justice. They taught me about pride, and they taught me about inclusion. Now, they eked out a living. For much of their lives, they eked a living from the soil. They sacrificed for their children with the hope that their children might have a better life than did they. My mother often chopped cotton from sunup to sundown and never made in that endeavor more than $2 per day. She and my father both suffered acts of humiliation and degradation, but they never lost hope and they never lost their sense of self. They were people of enormous respect and pride, and they transmitted those values that guided them into us. My father worked initially as a sharecropper and later became a self-taught mechanic. And they imparted those lessons, which I want to leave with you today, because those lessons continue to sustain and guide me in all that I do. Please now hear the words and the lessons of my mother and father. My father taught me courage, self-confidence, generosity, risk-taking, and gave me a zest for life. My mother taught me the lessons that have given me the foundation on which all else rests. These principles have enabled me to become an effective judge and hopefully a decent person. First, she taught me to have faith in God and in a power greater than myself and man. She always told me that I was as good as anyone else, but I was no better than anyone else. She taught me that there's some good in everyone, but sometimes you have to dig a little bit to find it. She taught me that jealousy, envy, and hatred are forces that will demoralize and ultimately destroy you. She taught me to give a full day's work for a full day's pay, and she said anything less than that is stealing, and stealing is wrong. She said that regardless of labels, there is value in all honest work. She taught me not to fear or shun people who are different, because she said to those people, you are different. She said that you can't control what people think or say about you, but you are responsible for the reputation that you create, and you must hold yourself accountable for how you respond to people. She told me that you are not responsible for the circumstances of your existence, but you are entirely responsible for your dreams. And she taught me never to be afraid to stand alone and to stand up straight, because when you do that, no one can ever ride your back. She said, you're going to fail, but when you fall down, don't lie down and take a nap. Get up and try again. And so I am content to get up every day to work in the cause of inclusion, diversity, equality, and advancement, and in human dignity. I do that because I know that I stand on the shoulders of people who worked hard and never had an opportunity to show their full mettle. But I know that they worked hard to help us become the great country we are today. And if we are to be entitled to call ourselves lawyers and judges, and to call ourselves Americans rather, and to say that we really are proud inhabitants of all of the things that make this country great, we have got to make a place for every other person to achieve the fullness of their purpose and the fullness of their ability. Tips, I want to thank you for this recognition. You honor me, not only by this award, but you honor me by your service and your commitment to diversity, inclusion, and a profession that welcomes all. Thank you. Thank you. And I will turn it back to John. I think.
Sorry about that. I'm going to transfer it over to Marcy, who has some things to say and some special news.
So I don't know if everyone has a glass to raise for Judge Donald. And Judge Donald, I know that in giving those incredibly inspirational and wonderful remarks, you probably were not able to read all of the amazing comments in the chat room that go on and on and on. So we've tried to collect them for you and preserve them so that you can read them over dinner tonight. Okay. But I just want to say to you, I'm Marcy Greer. I'm the diversity officer for TIPS. And I have the privilege of having nominated you for this award. I met you for the first time when I was in Leadership Academy, and you took the time to speak to us, little newbies and neophytes. And I still remember your words, and they're as powerful then as they are today. And thank you for sharing your incredible thoughts. Judge Donald, you inspire us. You challenge us to do more than our personal best. You show us the way to a better future for everyone. And you do it all with such grace and joy, enthusiasm, and yes, a great sense of humor. And we appreciate the opportunity to honor you with yet another first, the first Lifetime Liberty Achievement Award. I can think of no one more deserving, and I'm delighted that we were able to present it to you and you accepted it. And I would also like to say, point of personal privilege, happy birthday tomorrow, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And Your Honor, before I let Sharon wrap up the presentation with her toast to you.
I was supposed to show this too.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to do that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
But I want to just very quickly comment on your eloquent words. I was so impressed that I asked to make sure that this is being recorded. I couldn't think of better words to say, and with your permission, I'd like to encourage other people to listen to this and to take to heart what you said. Truly inspiring, and as I said, more than deserving of this award. But let me pass the final words on to Sharon to close out her remarks.
Thank you so much, John, for that opportunity. And I do want to say once again, thank you to Judge Donald for your service to our nation, your service to the 6th District, and to the people of Tennessee and Memphis in particular. I also want to just tell you that I was moved by your remarks, and I want to personally thank you for being one of our most noble guardians of our democracy. We need more people to serve in the manner in which you have, and we wish you the very best for what we know is going to be an exciting future. Your work is not yet done, and we look forward to working alongside of you. Congratulations and happy birthday, and we wish you the best.
Cheers.
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 Thank you so much. Thank you all. You're a great section, and you're great friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.